the situation with the Democratic Party. They had a meeting with like Our Revolution and Indivisible and numerous other like Democratic Party booster groups. Ironically enough, in that meeting, the Dems got very upset, apparently. Why were they very upset? Well, they were very upset because those groups were demanding the same exact thing that we've been saying, which is, hey, can you guys do something, please? Like, the country is getting ripped apart and we're watching it unfold. And it kind of seems like you guys are asleep at the wheel. What the fuck do you want the Dems to do? First of all, this should never be like, you should never actually come in here with this kind of energy, okay? Let me explain. One, I talk about what the Democrats should do all the time. I actually showed you the Legion Miller video as well. That was really good in terms of like what they can do. They should be obstructing. They should behave. They should play ball in the same way that the Republicans do when they're the minority party. They've already designed a like fairly coherent strategy. Obstruct, obstruct, obstruct. Democrats are out here talking about how they'll do bipartisan compromise. Please just give us anything to work with. That is the wrong message. They should be consistently talking about how damaging it is that the Republicans are going with full tilt austerity. I'll take it one step further. The Republicans are not even just going with full tilt austerity. The Republicans, interestingly enough, right now have they have Congress to do things with, right? They have congressional power. And yet, for some weird reason, or not a weird reason, actually, for a very nefarious reason, the Trump executive office is actually deliberately sidestepping congressional approval and doing everything with executive mandate. And I think the reason why they're doing that is because they want to stress test the entire system and see how far they can get away with. This actually opens up a unique opportunity for constantly taking these battles to the court system and constantly making a big stink and trying to engage in some sort of popular mobilization. They're not even doing that, however. They're not doing that at all. And that's completely unacceptable. They should be obstructing the process every step of the way. They should be investigating whatever they can. And they should be making a big fuss every step of the way. Well, it turns out the Dems got very mad. Not mad at the Republicans, mind you, mad at those liberal groups like Move On and Indivisible. Now, these guys are not Marxist-Leninists, okay? Let me explain something to you. These people are not in any way, shape, or form revolutionary groups, okay? We're talking about Move On and Indivisible. They're liberal groups. They work within the confines of the Democratic Party for the most part. Now, of course, they're a little bit more progressive than the Democrats on key issues, for sure. But overall, this is the heart of the Democratic Party's door-knocking operation. This is at the heart of the Democratic Party's, like, outreach operation. Okay? These are regular-ass libs. And it's understandable that these regular-ass libs are saying, hey, Democrats, can you lead, please? What is happening? Well, it turns out Democrats are pissed off at them. So one of the groups, pejorative now, extends to any cohort of humans, asking Democrats in any organized fashion to do anything beyond just fundraising, sending death robots to Israel and shrugging. Anyone who wants politicians to do politics is a pie-in-the-sky purist. We have officially gotten to a point where the Democrats are basically stating, like, oh, you want us to actually do things? You want us to actually stop the Republican Party, for example, or try to stop the Republican Party, for example? What kind of ridiculous activism is this? It is kind of crazy that this is the state of affairs within the Democratic Party. Okay, a rudderless ship, a operation simply designed to extract resources from as many people as possible so that they can basically send all of that money back to, I don't know, different kinds of marketing initiatives that their friends and their immediate family members work at. It's this massive grift. It's this money extraction operation. And there is no way, there is no reason to demand anything from them. Just give them money and shut the fuck up. This is my criticism of the Dems in full display. Like, this is them basically admitting what I say all the time. It's like they just looked at the situation and said, nah, what do you mean? No, like, what did you think this was? You misunderstood. No, we are not the Republicans, so give us money and shut the fuck up. It's fantastic. Here is the conversation that took place from someone that was there at that meeting, trying to figure out how much I could say without doxing myself, but long story short, there was a meeting/protest today where over 100 community leaders and advocates met with Schumer, among others. And it went horribly wrong because he basically admitted that they never thought about how to fight back. Everyone was mad as hell and demanding Dems do more. At one point, he basically laughs at my mom and smugly tells her that if she wants the community to be helped, then she needs to run for a position and help her community. And then my mom had to sternly remind him that she did. And she ran for her position and she won, which is why she's there with the rest of the advocates and leaders, because they're doing their jobs and the top Democrats aren't doing theirs. Super awkward. Remember, the entire dynamic of this meeting that took place yesterday was specifically for community organizers, activists, people that actually work within the Democratic Party, but like are directly door knockers and like the voice of the Democratic Party, the outreach operation of the Democratic Party, were going back to their elected representatives and going, guys, things are fucking going crazy. Okay, things are blowing up. And if your expectation is that you just sit by and wait for the Republicans to perish due to their incompetence, like, this is not going to work. You need to help them fail. If possible, please. Can you do something, please? Can you maybe tilt the scales in our favor in any way, shape, or form? And their expectation is no. Also, towards the end, they told the crowd that everything's off the record and they can't be held to their word. Lamau. And then they did. They leaked this meeting that took place. They leaked to the Axios guys that they actually hated. They said that the entire conversation was off the record. And then, of course, predictably, they went back to Axios and leaked to them, which is a center-right publication, of course, that they are pissed off at the liberal groups like Move On and Indivisible. If you are the Democratic Party and you're pissed off at Move On and Indivisible, who is in your corner? There's no one in the base then. You just hate your base. You actively hate your base. You despise your base. This is the base of the party. A lot of people will immediately say, Hasan, you're a socialist. Hasan, you don't like the Democratic Party. You want a proletarian revolution. Okay? Hasan, you are inherently antagonistic because you have a biased position on the genocide in Gaza. And that's why you're constantly cynically criticizing the Democratic Party. Those people don't understand that I work within the confines of the existing political structure all the time. This does not mean that I agree with everything, but I understand that if politics is the art of the possible, okay, then do something. Do something and show us what is possible. Socialists benefiting immensely from capitalism. Got it? What? Dude, I just want healthcare, man. What are you talking about, please? And it's not even just for me. Like, I'm good, all right? It's like, I understand that higher degrees of socialization and a government that actually allows there to be more unionization will open up opportunities for more political mobilization down the line. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It is crazy. Do Dems even care about their voter base? No, they don't. And this is my point. Like, my criticisms, no matter how much people tried to claim that they were like biased in favor of Gaza and cynically aggressive towards the Democrats for allowing death and destruction in Gaza, wasn't just about Gaza. I used Gaza as a way to describe the inconsistencies and the lack of interest from the Dems in actually paying attention to what was going on and the very reasonable demands that its base of support was demanding. There are so many other issues that I also talked about throughout the entire election cycle that the Dems were not responsive to. And this is another instance where I am explaining to you that I'm not saying this from the perspective of someone who cynically wants to undermine the Democratic Party. There are plenty of people, many very thoughtful leftist content creators out there who I agree with almost entirely, who very actively say, no, it's done. It's over. Dems are done. Throw them in the trash. Throw them in the trash bin. I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm still maintaining the position that, like, this is the only game in town. And if this is the only game in town, then they have to do something. And it's crazy to me that liberals still turn around and say, yeah, we are the only game in town and you should shut the fuck up. They are actively throwing themselves in the trash by doing stuff like this. Closed door meeting for House Democrats this week included a gripe fest directed at liberal grassroots organizations. Sources tell Axios. Members of the Steering and Policy Committee with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries in the room on Monday complained activist groups like Move On and Indivisible have facilitated thousands of phone calls to members' offices. People are pissed, the senior House Democrat who was at the meeting said, of lawmakers' reactions to the calls. The Democrat said Jeffries himself is very frustrated at the groups who are trying to stir up a more confrontational opposition to Trump. What is your job, Hakeem Jeffries? You are the House leader for the Dems. You are Nancy Pelosi's very own guy. What do you mean you're very frustrated? He's like, oh man, I can't believe I had to take this meeting with these losers. zoom in. There were a lot of people who were like, we got to stop groups from doing this. People are concerned that they're saying we're not doing enough, but we're not in the majority, said one member. Some Democrats see the callers as barking up the wrong tree given their limited power as the minority party in Congress. It's been a constant theme of us saying, please call the Republicans. If the Dems don't listen to us when our demands are, please pressure the Republicans and obstruct every step of the way, please do something, anything, and you're saying, dude, go yell at the Republicans. Why would the Republicans ever listen? The problem here will always be that we have high standards for the Democratic Party. We want them to do good shit all the time versus the Republican Party who voters have no standards and vote to make neighbors' lives worse instead of better. No, that's not true. Okay. And I'll explain why. I get what you're saying. In terms of the Republican agenda, their agenda is death and destruction, which is easier to do. It's easier to break things than it is to build things. Except that didn't used to be the case. Okay. Post FDR, it was actually much harder to untangle the federal government. It was much harder to advocate for austerity. That is the last 40 years of neoliberalism that has made it so that starving the beast is actually the norm, and people have no expectations from their government, and that Democrats are not expected to actually beef up the federal government in any way, shape, or form. That's like we're inherently antagonistic towards those sorts of initiatives. That wasn't always the case, though. That was not always the case. There was a time when, the government used to do things and people used to like that the government used to do things. There was a time when we took advantage of these social safety nets, at least to the degree in which it existed, when living standards were better. So I don't think that there is do I believe that the Republicans have an easier go at it than the Democrats do, given the standards and the expectations from the broader American population? Absolutely. The problem is Democrats don't even actually push for any of those things. The other side, people are angry, scared, and they want to see more from their lawmakers right now than floor speeches about Elon Musk, Indivisible co-founder Leah Greenberg told Axios. Indivisible is urging people who are scared to call their members of Congress, whether they have a Democrat or Republican, and make specific procedural asks. Our supporters are asking Democrats to demand specific red lines are met before they offer their vote to House Republicans on the budget when Republicans inevitably fail to pass a bill on their own. What's crazy about the situation is that Chuck Schumer has said that they would pass the budget. Chuck Schumer has said that they would pass the budget. Like the one fight that the Democrats have, the one tool that they have in their tool belt in terms of like stopping process, Chuck Schumer is like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're the minority party. Who gives a shit? It's amazing. It is truly amazing that there's no fight left in the Dems at all when this is the moment where they're supposed to fight.